Hi there, and welcome back to the History of Fleetwood Mac. I'm Anita. Today we're going to get into episode 6 and the final episode, I believe, of volume 7 of my Wild Heart Scrapbook. If you've seen the other videos, you understand that even though this is volume 7 and the next is volume 8, it's actually going to be part 2 of my Wild Heart collection because there's just that much Wild Heart stuff. Shouldn't be too long of a video, but I'm gonna try not to wax too poetic about stuff. But I've talked a couple times about things that I've gotten in the mail myself, or again, sending away for pictures, or trying to communicate with like Herbert Worthington or something. Well, I remember the first letter that I ever got from Herbert Worthington was in 1985, July 2nd, 1985. And let me tell you what, like, I cannot even convey to you, first of all, what a big girl I felt like getting mail, and secondly, just Jesus Christ, I poured over it, kept it, begged for everything that was in the brochure of things that you could buy. Didn't get one of them. But I still have this envelope, and it means the world to me. It's funny. That was my old address and where I grew up. It's where I spent my childhood. And then somebody else had an envelope, and for the same reason, I didn't want to tear it up. It's kind of covered their name and stuff like that. But Aruda, I don't even know where the hell that is, but their envelope as well. But you can see the difference. Like, mine is aged as hell. Theirs was a little bit more, I don't want to say recent, but maybe a little more preserved. Because again, if you've been watching my videos, you knew I dragged a lot of my stuff around with me in little scrapbooks and looked at them all the time. And so maybe like some kind of psychosis for that or something. Like maybe sometimes I hear myself speak, I'm like, it sounds kind of weird, and I'm not ashamed of it. And I'm totally, making fun of myself, but at the same time, it does kind of sound weird. But this is all stuff that I've had again forever, and I don't know why I felt inclined to put a picture of Garbo. This just kind of always reminded me of Garbo. I got into Greta Garbo shortly after. I remember also not only being a fan of Stevie and learning about the things that she liked. Like I learned about Sulamith Wolf being the artist, and was particularly Greta Garbo. Prior to Stevie, I was really collecting Marilyn Monroe stuff and Linda Carter. But that's when I was a little kid, okay? One-on-one stuff was a big deal. But Marilyn Monroe stuff, and I was just really into Hollywood, old Hollywood anyway. And I remember around this time, shortly after, probably actually right around the same time, my mom would take me to a bookstore all the time, and I found a book on Greta Garbo, this beautiful book, which I still have somewhere. It's in storage or something like that, but it's my favorite book on Greta Garbo. And it was like a coffee table book, just loaded with photos. And, I'm like, geez, in 1985, I was, Lord have mercy, 14, I want to say. So I really wanted it. We couldn't afford it. It just was a luxury that we just, didn't have. This damn fly is bugging the crap out of me. For 4 days, I've been trying to get this son of a bitch. I digress. I apologize. So he let me work for him. He let me, my mom would bring me over and I would work for like 2 hours. And I don't know, in 3 days, he gave me the book or something like that, which was really cool. But just that memory always coincides, around this time. And I think that's why I put the picture. There's just kind of an homage to my early collecting days and just really, getting into it and starting to get the stuff and all that kind of stuff. So this was out of a magazine that I've had pretty much since the day, it's been cut and stuff like that over the years. And this was out of, I think, I'm trying to remember which magazine this is out of. I can't remember. But all of this stuff, this, I've had since I was a kid. This is a newer this is really cute. This is something out of a magazine I just cut out, and I forget why they were pointing at it. And then, like I said, this was a newer letter that somebody had gotten. Kind of going back, I think I had mentioned that I prefaced I ended my last video saying that I was going to preface this video with stuff from Mick Fleetwood's video for, I think it's I Want You Back. And if anybody recalls, at the very end of, or throughout, if anyone follows, Mick Fleetwood is with Stevie Nicks in it. But in Mick Fleetwood's video, Stevie Nicks shows up at the very, very end of that video. And I think this is the scene. I think that's the scene in the in his video. I'm sure of it because they're just walking hand in hand like that. So this was something, again, probably out of a magazine that I regret now cutting up because I just really have I don't know where it came from. This was a copy of Stevie's artwork, again, also in the Wild Heart tour book. And then these are copies of these were 3D photos that came out. Stevie had, I don't know which ones, to be honest with you. I've never had them. But there was a series of photos that Stevie had in these little cool frames, like cardboard frames, and they were 3D photos sold at a few of the dates during the Wild Heart tour. And I've had nothing but copies, and those are like high on my find list. There's a few things I'd really like to find, and I'd like to have the whole set. But when they come down the pike, they're very expensive. They're very hard to obtain, and but really cool. But these were just little copies I had from a friend of mine. I think they were her copies or something like that. So they're just little cutouts. Next up, these are the pictures definitely from, well, no, I'm not sure. Somebody corrected me, and I think I put these up recently, and somebody said that no, these are from Stevie's If Anyone Falls. But I think these are from Mick Fleetwood's video. And now I'm second guessing myself because I can't remember. I don't think any of this was used, though, is what the problem is. But I don't remember any part in If Anyone Falls, although I've seen it a gazillion times, but not recently, where she's standing. And this is Billy Burnett. And I don't know, Billy was hanging out with Mick early on, well before he became a part of Fleetwood Mac in 1987, 88. So I think these are just outtakes from that day of Stevie on the set for Mick Fleetwood's video. And isn't it I Want You Back? It's not Angel, is it? It's I Want You Back, I'm pretty sure. And in the video, Mick wears a crown. He's like a mad king. So I thought the chalice and the crown were kind of, see what I did there? We have some more. These two were negatives that I had. A handful of these, I don't know if I still have them or not. Not some of my favorite photos. Stevie just looks, and I'm not going to say wasted. That's always such an awful term. She looks dead tired. Hey, she could have been doing stuff. Don't know, don't care. But it's like the lighting is way too harsh, and it's literally like she's blinded. Like, yeah, they're not. This is beautiful. These are pretty cool. But those really close-up shots are just, and this one, her picking her teeth, cracks me up, though. We're all people. We all do things. Yeah, so those are kind of unique photos. A lot of them are seen. A lot of them are in circulation. Mostly these really close-up ones. But I know that some of these are kind of harder to come by, or just not as often seen as the other ones. So this one's kind of pretty. Again, it's that harsh light, but still a really pretty picture of Stevie. So now, I mentioned, if you saw one of my earlier videos for Volume 7, I want to say Episode 2 maybe, I showed a picture of Stevie with her arms kind of out, and she was wearing all black, and it was signed by Herbert Worthington. So Herbert Worthington had a series of photos around the same time, probably I got this letter, maybe shortly thereafter, where I think there's like 5 or 6 of them maybe, and he had them signed by him, and some of them also signed by he and Stevie. None were signed just by Stevie as far as I can remember. I'm confident that they're all he and her or just him. But there was, like I said, there were not that many. They were hard to come by, and oftentimes they were sold by themselves, like with no signatures. But after getting one a long time ago, I'll actually kind of go backwards. So I'll start with the one that was hand signed by Stevie and him at the same time. And this is just a really cool, very fortunate, again, yet another autograph. So we got Herbert's signature and then Stevie's as well. Excuse me, sneezing. Phew, oh my God. I wish I could. I'm so sorry. I don't know how to edit. I just record these as they go. And so if you hear me sneeze or this damn freaking fly go by, which is probably what's making me sneeze, just, I apologize. Moving on. This is really cool. Really glad to have this. So I had this probably in about, I don't know, again, probably in the 2000s or so. And then I mentioned again during that same time when I'm talking about those other photos, when all of Herbert's stuff was going on, there was a series of negatives that got sold, and I got them. And these are the negatives. There's 3 of them, so I'm going to show you the 3. And so I had them all developed, and this is one, -1. And it took us years to figure out that that's kind of like a snake skin. So that's, we always call this shoot kind of the snake skin background shoot. This is the second negative. This one's a little off scene. It's, I think this might have been in one of Herbert's calendars. But again, if you had seen some of my other videos where I show the negatives, they're like really large. They're probably about, again, like not quite 4x6, like maybe 4x4, maybe. They're really large. And let me tell you what, it was impossible. It is really hard to get negatives, even regular ones, unless they're like the strips. And even those, anything like that, which is old technology by today's standards, it's really hard to find somewhere to develop them. So not only getting these things, but then being able to take them somewhere and having them developed is really a special thing. Some I've had developed and I've had to like work on them because the negatives begin to deteriorate, which I think I might have mentioned in probably my 77, 78 photo album. There were some negatives like that. These things, Jesus, were beautiful. And they're just a little faded though. And that is how they are. They come out, I mean, I think that shows up fine, but I'm confident compared to the one, where did I just put it? Am I losing my mind? Don't answer that. Yeah, this one is more vibrant. This is kind of a more skin tone, but you can see it's kind of, this is kind of pale. And I think, again, that's just the wear and age of the negative. I mean, if you look at the 2 together, there's definitely a you know, this is more washed out, which is unfortunate. But so again, so -1, -2, the signed one of Stevie and Herbert. But then my favorite of the 3 negatives by far and wide is this one. Absolutely gorgeous. Sharon, Sandy, Stevie, and Lori. Love, love, love these. And these kind of go with those other ones that I had shown that were kind of, we reverse polarized them. It's not the same session, but it's similar in this, you know, these great pictures of Stevie. And it's of this session, obviously, which was, I'm sure of it. Am I sure of it? I think it's from this session that we got the back picture from the Wild Heart. Because I have another one later of Sharon wearing that same kind of like that thing around her head, kind of like a little kerchief or something, but it's kind of rolled up like a little headband. She looks very different. Her hair looks different, but mostly because it kind of goes down on her hair and kind of flattens it like this. But Lori looks identical, and Stevie looks identical, other than the outfit. But I'm pretty sure, not that they didn't do multiple sessions like this. I mean, there's such the girl magic in so many of these shots where they just wonderful. I absolutely love this picture. Absolutely love it. And I was just so grateful to get it in, such a large size. I am, again, a little bummed out about its quality. And again, when I talk about deterioration of a negative, if you can see, there's kind of some discoloration that came out. The person I take it to did fix one for me, but I ended up selling that one. I just kind of like this one. Even with the deterioration, it's the original. It's how it would come out. And so I just took that as being kind of aged and just, I kind of dug it like that. So like I said, kind of going backwards in how I'm showing them. But then these were 2 obtained originals. So similar. Unfortunately, this one is kind of, where is it? Is it this one? It's hard to tell. One of them is kind of rippled. It's really thick cardboard, and it's like, I don't know, just from age or something like that, but it's kind of rippled. and neat to see them in black and white like that too. Now, I know these are Herbert just because of the other ones that I got, but yeah, nothing is on the back of either of these. Unfortunately, no stamp or anything that I recall. Let's double check here. Oh, in my infinite wisdom, I like plastered these down. Oh, no. Yeah, and this one is super yellowed on the back too. This one's got a lot of damage. Oh, look at that. Oh, look at that. That's terrible. But you can see the back like that. But it's got a stamp on there. That's just awful. Thank God the picture is still fine on the front, but this one has nothing on the back. Oh, why am I even getting the sniffles now? I film some of these, sometimes a couple in a day, and I live in Oregon, if you didn't know, and we've been having insane hot weather. I mean, it's brutally hot, and we're in a kind of a tiny apartment. It's 2 stories, thank goodness, but still, this place normally gets pretty hot in the summer and pretty damn cold in the winter. Well, all of a sudden, literally out of nowhere, we started having rain today. And I think it's just messing with my sinuses and just everything else. And funny enough, I stayed up like for 3-4 days in a row to try to win tickets to see Stevie Nicks in a contest. And you had to like get a keyword at 8 o'clock, 10 o'clock, noon, 2, 4, and 6. So for several days, I had no sleep because I'm like waking up at all those times. I stayed up till like 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning anyway, every day. And then Monday, I had to hear like who won. It freaking wasn't me. Whatever. But that started at like 5:30 in the morning because they didn't say like when they were going to announce the winner until much later, and then it ended up being like 8 o'clock. So I'm going to like on this much sleep, and then the weather changes, and just I feel my sinuses, my body, because I'm an old lady. This is funny as hell, and it's freaking cold right now. It's so funny. It's been so warm, but now it's just all of a sudden just ridiculously cold. Not that you want to know that, but it's just kind of funny what's, such a change. But it is getting to be spooky time, and I'm so grateful. Usually I would have my house decorated for Halloween, like in September, much to my boyfriend's, he doesn't give a rat's ass, but I try to, spare him. There's little signs. There's always little signs of Halloween stuff, totally like September 1st. But the full decoration, I try to wait till the end of September, beginning of October, and I haven't done that yet. I'm not really sure if I feel like it this year. It's really my go-to holiday, that and St. Patrick's Day. Don't ask me. I love green. And I have a lot of great memories of St. Patrick's Day. So I always make the house real green in the springtime. But Halloween, I have all my little Stevie stuff, and I have all this, so much stuff. And I really should, but just so much going on. It's like, but it's October, and that's really all that matters, right? And then there's Stevie, possibly, this coming week. So that's a really good thing. And that's a perfect way to start out October. So I apologize. But ending up with that session, these are a few. Now, some of these are grabs, if you will, copies that friends have made for me. This one is a full-on grab. And the rest, I think, are all copies friends have made. But you can tell just by the clarity or lack thereof. So many from that session. Such a great session. Not one of my favorites. It's great. And this thing is crazy. I mean, it gets so, when you see it here, it's so, how big is that thing, right? I'd love to see that in its full glory. And also, can anybody tell me? I can't think of this in any other pictures. I mean, because the one that she wears for Rock a Little, that has a lot of lace like that in velvet, it's clearly like it's got a big hood. But this one looks like it's got lining, and yeah, I just can't place this elsewhere except these pictures. And that's some good detail on it there. It straight up looks like something she ought to have worn during that Civil War Stand Back video. I mean, it looks something straight out of that video, but so that's those. I've already gone on too long. I apologize. We're almost done here. I'm so sorry for my little tangent. Definitely an old page, and my God, This is so embarrassing. This was one, again, I was newly making this. I had all this kind of scrapbook kind of stuff, stickers, and I just, oh my God, I thought it was so cool. And I had these visions of grandeur and how I was going to do, and I hand wrote the lyrics to Gate and Garden because I thought that was such a cute little sticker. It's like a little gate, right? This handwriting, I don't know what I was smoking that day. This is just awful. But I love it. I did it, and it's there, and it's staying that way. And this is that little picture I mentioned. If you saw in a prior video, I had a real photograph of this, but this is cut from a magazine. Just trying to write all fancy. Before you had printers and, ways to make things nicer, and, yeah, it is what it is. I'm not going to change it. Another little, an old page. This was another cool video picture from Stevie's wedding. This was in Rolling Stone, I think, announcing or commemorating her getting married. I don't know why it's not covered up. That's all. Xerox, magazine stuff. Again, an old page. And then lastly, definitely a mixed mash page of stuff. I think this was, maybe I do have a long box because this definitely looks cut out. Yep. Look at that. So definitely the long box for Wild Heart. The back of it, I can feel how thick it is. This little excerpt from, again, Playboy magazine, I want to say. Do not think that I had Playboy issues coming out. I go through every magazine. And if it's the 80s or around that time where Stevie might have been in a magazine, I'm going through it. I don't care what it is. So that's why I have this. Something I copied and colored a long time ago because why not? Another Playboy poll, readers poll, music poll. That's funny too. Did you read it? Maybe it isn't fair to pit the best cuts by a rock master against the worst by rock's hottest mistress. Ouch. But sometimes life just isn't fair. We know we have to listen to it all. Dicks. So Slim Harpo. I know a lot of music, but I was not familiar with him at all. So hot Slim Harpo, not Stevie Nicks Wild Heart. And I'll tell you what, I would listen to most of the not list before I listen to the stuff on the hot list, which cracks me up. Actually, both have pretty good slides, but just what a terrible thing to say. Wild Heart was a great album. And I'm not just biased. I mean, I think it is time and everything. Then this is that magazine where so many pieces came out of. And I think that was like an advertisement for a back issue. And then above that, Newsbreaker, Stevie Nicks was planning her future to include an autobiographical novel and transforming the Fleetwood Mac hit song Rhiannon into a ballet. She says, I don't want to have to try and stay 18 forever. How many times have we heard about an autobiography and Rhiannon being a ballet? Just throwing that out there. And then again, one of my older clippings is this one here from Rolling Stone. I first saw that picture and just about lost my mind. And I've had this since I was a kid. And I think that, yeah, it's just talking about Belladonna. There's nothing interesting on there as far as, like different songs that are supposed to be on there. This is a cool little picture out of a magazine. And like I said, I'll go through any magazine. But that picture is unseen. I haven't seen it other than out of that magazine. This tiny, tiny little picture. And again, that's from that Rock and Run show. And then the back, because this is an old page, absolutely, completely FUBAR. This is all over the place. We got the 70, we got 81, but hey, it is what it is. There's still some good clippings here. That one's kind of unique too. That one's kind of unique. And this one is from a long time ago. I think Stevie says, yeah, this was one of my favorites. Stevie Nicks. Oh, this one says Stevie Nicks and a friend watched the festivities from backstage. But I've seen other ones where they say that's her daughter, which cracks me up. Her and Lindsay's daughter, no less. So I apologize for my, again, I said at the beginning, right, I try not to wax too nostalgic, and I failed miserably. Then went off about the holidays and my sneezing, and, it is what it is. Thank you for joining me. I really appreciate when you always come and visit and watch these videos, especially when I go off on a tangent like that. And that is the end of volume 7. Next up will be volume 8, but part 2 of Wild Heart stuff, and even more pictures to come. So thanks again for joining me, and we'll see you next time. Have a great night.